I'm going to tell you the reason my knee and feet healed, and it was instantaneous. And I knew why it happened. It was because I became my authentic self. And it was like in an instant, oh wow, now everything's okay. Let me tell you the story, because I've done this many times throughout my life. I've had more illnesses and diseases and difficulties than most people can probably imagine. And you wonder, how can this guy be 72 years old and gone through all of that and still be alive? Well, I'll tell you why. The reason that my knee healed is because I knew what was happening and I knew what I was resisting, just as I know with all of my clients as well, because we all do the same thing. I'm a firm believer that our mind-body connection is real, and most of the time our illnesses, our diseases, and all of that are us not accepting who we are. And I've done that my entire life, so I know what that is like. I know how challenging that can be because your life is going a little crazy and screwed up and you don't understand what's happening. This is why I'm changing all of my work, my coaching, to what I call life coaching for a new world. Because see, we're in a different place now. This happened last week, actually. I sat down and I decided to write an article that I knew I needed to get out there because it was going to be helpful for people, but it was challenging for me because I don't like to bring up things that might be a little controversial. I always have to deliver something where I know it's going to help the broader perspective, that it's going to help the world in some way. That's what I always do. But sometimes those conversations are a little challenging. But the other night I said, nope, I know what's happening and our world is in trouble. I've got to talk about this and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write it. I just don't care what anyone thinks. I wrote the article, then I stood up, and all of a sudden my knee was healed. And my feet, I didn't have any more plantar fasciitis. I go, what? I didn't even know what the heck that was before, except that's what caused me to have the problem with my knee, I thought, but that wasn't it. See, several months ago, I went into my kitchen and I didn't have any shoes on, and I stepped on something, and when you have plantar fasciitis, it's really painful if you step on something. So I stepped on something and I fell to the floor so hard on my knees to the point where I had to stay there for a while. I couldn't get up. I just laid there and I go, this is interesting. I'm to my knees now. That's pretty symbolic, isn't it? Let's have you on your knees for a while. But then a few days later, I said, okay, this is all right. I can walk now. Everything was okay. I thought this is fine. But then weeks later, this one knee is still acting up. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's something beyond what I know. Maybe I've really screwed this up so terribly and I have to have surgery. I know that also that is never really true, but sometimes we will take that route because it's easier and quicker instead of understanding that it's about coming into knowing who we are and owning who we are, becoming authentic, you see. So when I knew this was going on, I still had to go through all the route that we all go through. Okay, maybe I should see a doctor, maybe even knowing that's not going to help, but I got to go through that because last week I couldn't walk at all. Couldn't walk. Couldn't stay on my feet. Couldn't do none of that. And then I actually looked at just a couple of lines of Dr. John Sarno. If you don't know of him, I've spoken of him before. He wrote Healing Back Pain. He gives you the idea of how most of our conditions are connected to who we are and what we're thinking and what we're believing, because we only operate in our consciousness about anything. So but it takes a while for us to accept that. It takes a while for us to become comfortable with that and to own our power, because it's within each person. So as I did this, I called up a surgeon. I had an appointment last Wednesday for consultation for knee surgery. No, I mean coming up this Wednesday, actually, as a matter of fact. It was coming up this Wednesday. And on Sunday, I sent them an email and said, I don't need you, because I started to own myself, so I'm able to stand up. But then the shocking thing was, I didn't expect this was going to happen as well, is that I could walk now on my feet. The plantar stuff, whatever that was, it was gone. Now, you have to understand, I've had trouble with my feet my entire life. I lost half of my left foot 25 years ago. And I knew again then, I was like resisting going into what I knew. See, because I knew that I had something, but I couldn't really hold on to it, and I couldn't believe it, and I didn't want to tell other people because I might get judged. all of that. I couldn't even hold it with my family because they thought this guy's out of his mind. What is he doing? And a lot of people would have thought that or believed that, and that's what I was afraid of. Except the fact is, what happened was, because of the life that I have lived, I've been through more things than anybody can imagine. I've overcome them. I've healed them. I've done so many things. So because of that, I developed a lot of things that I can share with others. We all have. And that's what we're meant to do. That's how evolution operates. We don't know when that's going to show up. I turned 72 last week. I didn't know it was going to all come together and make sense at this point, but it does. I've been channeling and receiving information for so many years, and then a couple of years ago, I was told that I was given a philosophy, and it's called Your Life Operating Instructions. I go, that doesn't make sense, but it does now. Because we're moving into a new world. We're not going to operate the way that we did before. And all of my work is to guide people to becoming who they're meant to be, because I can see it and I've developed the path, the thing that can get you there. All of my coaching or my program does the same thing. Because it just works because I've lived it. Because it's what I had to go through. But now we're in a different place in our world. All the chaos, all the craziness is because we're all moving through an evolutionary change. And so you're going to be different. You're going to start discovering things about yourself that you put away, that you didn't think you had or didn't believe you could do. It's going to come up. We are eternal beings who are always evolving. We do it in different ways and different times, and we have different ideas and beliefs about that. What I do is guide you to yours, to your beliefs, to who you're meant to be, to your authentic self. It's not like anyone else, and you're supposed to be you, and you have that much power. And that's why if we have more people who are loving themselves and understanding that them becoming successful and happy adds to the up-leveling, the upliftment of our world, we have a different world. And for me to come to finally accept that, oh, I do have this thing that I doubted forever. And so then what happened, just to tie this up, because I want to leave you with a video, a replay of a conversation. Last night I'm sitting and I'm listening to some woman talking about she was doing a tarot reading, I believe, and talking about Scorpios, which I am, and she mentioned some dates, and I go, that's really fascinating. Let me go back and look. And I saw that I had done a channeling session on the date that she was mentioning. However, today, and this is the one that blew me away, because, see, we're having an election here in the United States tomorrow, and I was trying to advise people that, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little chaotic, because it's a big change that's happening that we all wanted, because if we understand the change, we make the world better. And we do that by each person deciding to love themselves. That doesn't make sense, but when you listen to the recording, it will. But I was sitting at my doctor's office because I was going in to do my checkup. I do that all the time. And as I'm sitting in the lobby, I'm watching something on another video, and so another date was mentioned. I said, oh, let me go back and listen to what that was. What was I doing on that date? This is just all astrological stuff, but we're all connected in some way. And so I said, what was that? And then I found the recording. And it blew me away. I said, now I understand it all. I understand that what I do have, I heard it. It was all there. See, the thing that's so challenging for me and many other people who know me is that I will receive the information and write it down or channel it, or it'll come out of me, and I have to go back and read it or study it or hear it before I know. That's just what's happened. That is the skill, the gift that I was given. And so I had to honor that and start to own it, just like you do. Everybody's given something. It's just in different forms. But now is the time where we're meant to bring that out into our lives, make our lives its best that they could be. Because we're supposed to be happy, prosperous, free, loving. We're supposed to have all of that. But it does require us to move through our blockages, which are all in our thinking. And that is the work that I've developed. And that is the gift that I have. And that is the philosophy that I will leave with the world. And anyone who uses it will transform their lives. There's no way you could not. It has to happen. Because if you're doing the work, you're looking at every aspect of who you are. Why do you think you're less than someone? Why don't you have confidence? Why don't you have the right relationship? Why can't you find the right job that you're supposed to have, or the career? All that stuff. It's all within you. And my program and my work guides you there. That's why I guarantee it all, because I know that it works. And this is the time in our world where we all needed it. And I'll leave the recording, and I'd love for you to listen, because there will be great changes coming around the next few days, the next several weeks, for the year, actually. And I'd love to invite you to my session tomorrow if you happen to see this before that time. But you can always check the recordings on my YouTube channel, Wisdom from Wilhelm.